In pro football, nobody's entitled to anything. You have to go out there and earn it.
I was pretty intent on proving myself.
We were going to determine the future of football in New England.
The Patriots are Super Bowl champions!
First dynasty of the century.
The new docuseries, The Dynasty New England Patriots, reveals how the Patriots went from a struggling franchise to a football dynasty with never-before-seen video footage and audio files. The series documents the team's 20-year historic run that led to 6 Super Bowl wins. Joining us now is the director, Matt Hamachek. Good morning.
Good morning, Larry, Robin, and Pat. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, good to have you. You know, when this thing was first announced and that trailer came out, I think I probably thought the same thing that a lot of people thought, and that was, how did he get so many people to cooperate on this thing? I mean, Bill Belichick. How'd you get Bill Belichick for an afternoon to sit down with you and talk about stuff that was really sensitive subject matter for a lot of them?
Yeah, listen, I didn't grow up a Patriots fan. For better or for worse, for most of your viewers, I'm a Green Bay Packer fan, and so I really didn't know all that much, and so part of the process was going to the 70+ players and coaches and front office executives and sort of gaining their trust and saying, look, this is the kind of story that I'm going to tell, and it's going to be the unvarnished telling of the New England Patriots story. But the thing that I'm going to focus on here isn't as much about the X's and O's. It's really going to be about the people and how they interacted with each other, how they created something that was remarkable, where everybody checked their egos at the door. They were selfless, they were team first, and they sustained that for a very, very long time. But that foundation of the Patriot way, eventually, as we documented in the last 3 episodes, really begins to crumble at the end.
So people talk about culture and chemistry, and you kind of described what went into that there, but how was that established? I think everybody tries to establish that, and with not much success.
Well, it's really Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. Bill Belichick has a top-down sort of, management style where he's at the top and everybody else is below him, and they are equals. And the key to making something like that work is you have a quarterback like Tom Brady who, for almost 20 years, was willing to subjugate his ego. And one of the reporters that we talked to says basically that he became a punching bag for Bill Belichick. Belichick would, open up every year with a lowlights meeting where he would show the worst plays from the year before. And he would say things in front of the team, in front of the new rookies, things like, I could get the kid from Foxborough High School down the street to throw a better pass than that. And if you're a rookie and you're sitting there and looking at Tom Brady, who's won 4 Super Bowls, and he's taking it, then what are you going to do? And so that culture worked for a very, very long time. But, eventually it didn't, and it started to fall apart from within.
How in the world did Brady deal with that for so long? Did he go into that much? Because you're not just talking about a guy who's a Pro Bowl quarterback, right? You're talking about the greatest quarterback of all time.
Well, the story of Tom Brady is a guy who knew that he wasn't the fastest, he wasn't the strongest, he didn't have the best arm, but he was always the guy who said, I'm not there yet. I'm going to do everything in my power to make myself better. And Bill Belichick is much the same way. The success of the Patriots is through incredible hard work. And I think that, it happened to him in high school with Tom Brady. Then when he got to college, he was a 7th string quarterback when he got there, worked his way up to be a starter in his senior year. And then this new kid, Drew Henson, came in, who was stronger and faster, and the coach started to put that guy in. And then Tom graduates from Michigan, and then he goes to the draft, and he's the 199th pick. So in Tom's mind, in his friend's mind, in his family's mind, he was always being doubted. And the tension between the two of them really starts at this idea that Tom is determined to play until he's 45 years old. But Bill also knows as fact that at a certain point, every quarterback falls off of a cliff at a certain age. And that's the beginning of the tension. Bill brings in Jimmy Garoppolo, and then, Deflategate happens. Tom serves his, 4-game suspension, and this all leads up to the moment when they go up against the Falcons. Tom Brady goes down 28-3 by the 3rd quarter, and everybody, the naysayers who have been saying that Tom's starting to slip, are all starting to be proven right. And even, the Boston Globe has a snowbird edition that they send out to the folks in Florida, and the headline at halftime that they had to run with was, a bitter end. And then Tom Brady gets up off the bench, and he has arguably the greatest comeback in NFL history, if not sports history. And it's at that moment where there's a real shift, because the people that were there talk about how the guy that was always willing to subjugate his ego and always sort of be the punching bag was sort of saying, maybe not anymore quite as much as he did. So, and look, and the best kinds of stories are not the ones where there's villains and heroes. You have to understand where everybody's coming from. I can see everything from Bill Belichick's eyes, and I can understand everything from Tom's eyes. And we're not here to sort of set up straw men just to kick them down. It's a complicated, nuanced story, and I sort of describe it as Shakespeare, but with footballs.
Well, new episodes of the Dynasty New England Patriots air every Friday on Apple TV through March 15th. First few are already up. You can follow Matt on social media. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you for having me on, guys.